I think the college football rivalry is really a cool thing in all of sports, and we're lucky to have a long-standing traditional in-state rivalry. I mean, it's a cool deal.
I do appreciate that no matter where you come from in our state, you're on one side or the other, or you're a person that maybe just moved here. I guess that's maybe the third element.
People being so invested is what makes this rivalry great.
The people in Montana remember every single freaking play in these Cat Grizz games, man. So to go out there and make plays in this game, and that's really how you leave a legacy.
Growing up and watching the Brawl was always my favorite game of the year. So to be able to play in it has just been a blessing and a heck of an opportunity. It's been really cool.
This is it in Montana. This is all every little kid's dream, playing in this game. All eyes are going to be on this game. All eyes in Montana will be watching this.
Grew up watching the game, and it's a great opportunity to get to play in this game, and it'll be electric out there on Saturday, and just looking forward to it.
That sets the stage for the 122nd Brawl of the Wild. Call it Cat Grizz. Some of you crazy Montana fans try to call it Grizz Cat. I don't care if you're a Montana fan. That just doesn't ring off the tongue. But it is one of the busiest and most exciting weeks in the Treasure State as Montana and Montana State square off this Saturday. Welcome to the Billings Sports Zone. I'm Spencer Martin, as always, sports director for Color 8 Nonstop Local here in Billings. And I mean, what a matchup this Saturday. You could argue the most meaningful, the highest stakes matchup in the history of this rivalry. Whoever wins Saturday's top 5 matchup between UM and MSU, they're going to be the outright Big Sky Conference champion. I mean, this was already going to be a big game. It has been. I mean, the last few years you look, and it's almost always been a top 10 matchup now, which has made it awesome. But Idaho on Saturday, the Idaho Vandals, if you didn't know, lost to Weber State. They got upset. So now, I mean, with Idaho out of the picture, the winner wins the Big Sky outright with a win. And Idaho slipped in the rankings, obviously. Montana moves up. Montana State moves up that one spot to number 4. So it's number 3 versus number 4. And so, I mean, we're really talking a little bit more than just who wins the in-state rivalry, right? Like, who wins the grudge match, the bragging rights. That's a big part of it. Who takes home that big old Great Divide trophy, puts it on their campus for a year. There's a little bit more than that at stake this season, and especially when you consider an outright championship. Montana State's been claiming shares a lot because you got 12 teams in the conference, and the Bobcats have been right up there. Grizzlies were at first the last couple years, and then kind of fell off towards the end. And it's kind of crazy, actually. 5 times in the last decade, there's been a standalone league champ, only 50% of the time. So it doesn't happen that often. It hasn't happened if you get rid of the 2011 season, which we all know is, a lot of controversy there with the Grizzlies. I'm going to take it out because it's out of the record books, frankly. But the Grizzlies haven't won since 2009, which is pretty crazy. And the Bobcats, they ended a 9-year championship drought last season, sharing the title with Sacramento State, and they've been right there, but not a lot of them have been outright. So you have that up for grabs. You also have the postseason positioning up for grabs. I mean, you look at it right now, South Dakota State probably isn't going to lose, so they're the number 1 seed, but you're looking at the winner here possibly getting that number 2 seed and leapfrogging Furman. Because of getting a top 4 win, you could get that number 2 seed. That means that you would never go on the road in the playoffs at all. And we've seen how that can really be devastating for Montana or Montana State when they have to go on the road like that. So if you can get that 2 seed, you are at home until you're in Frisco, Texas. All right, let's talk about the National Finals Rodeo. Thanks so much for being with us on this Tuesday night. We already talked about the big story, the Grizz and the FCS Championship game, but for those sticking with us, I mean, the NFR Super Bowl of Rodeo, 10 nights down at the Thomas and Mack Arena in Las Vegas. And, if you're not familiar, the reason why this is a big deal is because you got 10 Montanans, or at least 10 with Montana ties. We claim them as Montanas, 3 from Wyoming, the Cowboy State. And these guys are the best at what they do, and they're some of the best in the country. And that's what's really awesome to see, is that Montana and Wyoming are really well represented in a big way in the sport of rodeo, which I think continues to grow on a national scale. And it was cool because you had Miles City's Haven Medjid and Circle native, now she lives in Ulrich, South Dakota, Lisa Lockhart. They both won NFR average titles on Saturday night at the 2023 NFR. Now, when you win the average, what that means is it takes your score from each of the 10 nights. So if you're a rough stock rider, it's your points, the score ride. And then roping, barrel racing, it's your times all added up. So if you win the average, that means that against the best, there's 15 in your category. That means against the best of the best, you were the best over 10 nights. And so even if you don't win the world, which factors in the season earnings you made over, 8-9 months of traveling all around the country, rodeoing, when it mattered, right? When it was head-to-head, mano-a-mano down there, you won. And so Miles City's Haven Medjid did just that in tie-down, and he broke a record, his second record of the week there, down at the NFR. First, he set a new round record earlier on, 6.4 seconds in tie-down, beat a record that's really stood for off and on. I mean, 3 guys have it total. Shad Mayfield matched it a couple years ago, but it was first set over 2 decades ago, and he finally broke that 6.4 seconds, which was pretty cool. Then he set a new average record in tie-down on Saturday night with 77.4 seconds on 10 head. Medjid brought home over $400,000 this season after the 2019 world champion won $216,000 and finished second in the world standings at the NFR. 21-10 at the halftime, and it just kind of went down from there. Joseph Dwyer had 5 catches for 70 yards and 2 touchdowns in the first quarter alone. We talked about Holcomb throwing those 3 touchdowns. I mean, through the first 17 minutes of play, he was 8 of 10 for 113 yards and 3 touchdowns. So when they're on that script, that opening game script, man, Rocky is good. Like, they just are, they're on it. They come out with a great game plan, and they jump on people, and something switches at halftime. I mean, the Battling Bears defense, they've yet to allow an individual rusher over 50 total yards this season, an NAIA best, 33.5 rushing yards allowed so far this year. In terms of scoring defense before this game, they were 7th in the country. Obviously, that mark is going to change a little bit after giving up 45, but this defense is elite. And they ended up giving up 440 yards to the College of Idaho. And I don't know if they just get conservative. I mean, Holcomb was 8 of 10 to the first, quarter and a half. He finished 12 of 18 for 127 yards, 3 touchdowns, and an interception. So he only threw the ball 8 more times in the entire second half. MSUB men and women really impressive. And what's even more fun about these teams is it's local kids making an impact. Billings natives on the women's side, Cola Bad Bear, great career at Montana State, an all Big Sky player, gets that 5th year of COVID eligibility, and she decides she wants to come home, try to lead MSUB to a national championship, do something historic. Well, they're doing something historic right now with their start and their ranking. They have a chance to host the Western Regional. And here's Cola Bad Bear, a conversation I had with her, just talking about adjusting to the Division II game and trying to get some more fans over there at Altera Woods Gym for this very good Lady Jackets team. Another edition of Horsing Around. We got Cola Bad Bear with us, and Cola, we're about halfway through the season.
Yep.
We talked at the beginning of the year why you came back to MSUB, why this was important to you. Mm-hmm. Now that you're actually here, what's it been like?
It's been amazing. I really enjoy it here. It's more laid back, for sure. We get to travel to really cool places.
Yeah.
I'm super excited for Alaska and Canada. I've never been there. So I'm excited to see that. And it's nice that we get to fly everywhere. And it's just nice to be home. We got 7 days off for Christmas. I don't remember the last time I've ever had that. Probably middle school. I don't know. So that was super nice. It's just a whole reset, and I definitely think I'm falling in love with the game again, and it's making it fun. So it's very much enjoyable.
That's awesome. Yeah, Coach Wooden, you have to pack for so much weather here because you'll go to Florida, but then you're going to Alaska, Hawaii, sometimes in the same week.
Yeah, exactly.
On the court, I know that when you got here, you're talking to people like Coach Breen, and it was a completely different player who you're playing against at this Division II level. Now you've had time to adjust. You're leading the Jackets in scoring. What was the hardest part about adjusting to playing at the Division II level?
Yeah, most definitely probably just building the connections and understanding their plays and their system. I mean, in Bozeman, we had to be there for summer workouts.
Yeah.
So we were there Monday through Friday. Like, you kind of eased into things. You learn the plays, the basics, like everyone's game, like our defense. And then here it was like, oh, you're going to start in September and your preseason's going to be like 4 weeks and then you start playing games. And I'm like, oh, great. Like, I used to have like a playbook, like what I did, what everyone else did on the court, like just a play-by-play for like defense, offense, how much we want to score, like percentages. And here it was like, oh, everything's brand new.
Welcome back to the Billings Sports Zone right here on ESPN Billings, and the state wrestling tournament coming up over at First Interstate Arena on February 9th and 10th. First up, we have divisional wrestling tournaments coming up this weekend, and sure thing, the Billings West boys will have their eyes on another team state championship. They're looking to repeat. How about Billings senior girls as well? A lot of local teams. Will touch on a couple of them tonight here, but let's talk about Billings West boys. They're eager for that chance to defend their title, and two guys key to that mission are Mikhail Awayo and Kian Hernandez, who are enjoying their last couple of weeks together on the mat. Kian Hernandez has a chance to join the prestigious four-time state champion club. Under his wing is sophomore Mikhail Awayo, who won his first as a freshman a year ago. The friendship they share stretches back to when they were little kids.
Me and Mikhail, we have gone way back. I mean, I bet you can pull up so many pictures of us when we were like, he's always been the little brother I've never had, and it's going to suck leaving him this year because we've never been apart for this long. But, you know, he'll join me either at Iowa or he'll go to wherever he wants and make his own mark.
Oh, he's like my brother, like a big brother to me, so it's cool. We get in fights, but we hang out all the time. So.
Begs the question, does the little bro ever win any of these fights?
Some of them, like a little bit, but
Nah, he'll never win a fight. I'll never let that happen.
Conflicting reports, but they say history repeats itself, and that's the case with this relationship. Jeremy Hernandez and Jason Awayo, the guys' dads, also wrestled together at West High. Again, Hernandez was the big brother in the family, and both were instrumental in the team winning the program's last state title in 1994. Now, 30 years later, also team state champions, Kian and Mikhail are partners in practice, pretty much year-round, making each other better every day as they seek some more hardware for the Golden Bears.
just getting tougher. He makes me really tough. Before I wasn't used to it yet, but now I'm there.
You know, to have him in the room, it's way better. Plus, he's a lot bigger and stronger now than he was last year, so it's just a lot better for me because he's tall as can be, so it's hard to get on him when we go live, but he gives me a good go.
The All-Class State Wrestling Tournament is quickly approaching when it returns to Billings on February 9th. But still, the fact is, 2 of their 3 wins are against a non-scholarship program and a Division II program, and the other win is against a team that its only win was against Northern Arizona, who Montana just lost to. Sam Herder, a lot of people know who Sam Herder is because he's a prominent FCS rider, and he doesn't even know what to do anymore because for a couple weeks he was getting a bunch of hate on his Twitter for he didn't have Montana unranked. He just didn't have Montana ranked very high. I think entering the game against Northern Arizona, he had Montana at number 21, and everyone was kind of attacking him for it. It felt like a lot of Grizz fans were coming after him for it. And now it's just like he's going, what are we doing here? We're looking at this poll, and Montana's number 13, and then they lose to 0-3 Northern Arizona, and they just keep getting this benefit of the doubt from voters, what he said after competitive games versus non-scholarship Butler and D2 number 1 Ferris State. I still had them ranked but dropped them to number 21. I bet they'll still be ranked Monday, but not by me. Herder continued to say, quote, the FCS is better when Montana is good, but the Grizz have not been impressive this year. Hype also comes with high criticism if you don't perform to those expectations. I completely agree 1,000%. Football is better, obviously, just right here in our own neck of the woods, in our state when Montana is among the nation's elite. And it is better for the FCS when they are among the nation's elite.